This past week, we did see the US dollar start to drop. This is a weekly time frame. We almost contacted this weekly supply zone above before we started to drop. So are sellers in control on the US dollar, or is this just a fake out? That is the big question this week. And here are some of the profitable trades we had from last week in the daily market breakdown videos. So on the daily time frame here of the DXY, you can see we had a beautiful upward trend line on the daily chart. We closed below the trend line, which has definitely indicated that we could see a drop in the US dollar. Of course, we did react off of a daily supply zone from way back here, which wasn't really on my radar too much, if I'm being honest, but we are seeing a move down. Not only that, right, obviously to see a change of direction like this is significant, but what's even more significant is on the 1 hour and on the 4 hour time frame, we have seen a downward trend line and a downward trend. That is also a positive sign. It's one thing to see a daily trend end or a 4 hour trend end, but when we also create a downward trend after that, that is definitely significant. The next thing I'll be looking for is on this 4 hour time frame, right? Obviously, we have this 4 hour downward trend line on the DXY right now. Things are looking weak. We have that clear area of support right here, but there is a good demand zone at 107.13. Beautiful rally-based rally demand zone. If this zone breaks, honestly, I think we could be seeing the dollar continue to fall, and I really don't know where we would be pulling back into. If you go back to the weekly time frame, I think it's possible. Like I said, if we do break that 4 hour demand zone that I pointed out, I think it's possible we even pull back all the way down to like the 105 area again to this little rally-based rally that took out that high. That is the move I think we could see if we do, like I said, break that 4 hour demand zone. But honestly, it's a good demand zone. I wouldn't be surprised if we do react off of it to the upside. What we want to see to indicate the most strength would be a move off the zone. Not only that, to break this downward trend line and trend. That would be significant. That would tell me that, hey, maybe that daily trend line break that we got is just a temporary pullback, sort of a fake out below the upward trend line. It's just a fake out. They're stopping out everybody that was trading with that trend line, and we're actually headed up to that weekly supply zone at 110.66 that we've been talking about. So to summarize on the DXY again, all of my focus is going to be on this 4 hour time frame pretty much to see what happens at that downward trend line, to see if it can continue to hold, and to see if this 4 hour demand zone can hold as well. On to the forecast for the Euro US dollar on the weekly time frame here. Just want to point out, yes, we did see some strength in the Euro this past week. That's a very, very bullish weekly candle, but there still is tons of profit margin down to this weekly zone at 0.99 demand zone down there. But on the daily time frame, we did break above this downward trend line, so that's definitely a pretty bullish sign in my opinion, and that has left us with a new demand zone down below on the daily chart. And we are also into a daily supply zone. So what that means is we could actually be looking for the Euro US dollar shorts to trade from the supply zone on the daily chart down to the daily demand. You could also be looking for shorts on other pairs as well. Just for example, on the Euro GBP, we caught this beautiful setup on the Euro GBP from the daily market breakdown video, which are videos that I release every single day that break down the market. If you want to trade alongside myself and the community, join the Diamond membership for exclusive access to our daily market breakdown videos and catch trades like these. Plus, dive deep with our full-length forecast covering 26 plus markets, our interactive Sunday Zoom sessions, and personal homework to sharpen your strategy. And you'll also join our private Discord group for direct access to me and unlock a complete library of A to Z video lessons to master supply and demand trading. Don't miss out. Let's level up your trading. Links are in the description down below. So it's a great time to be trading the euro short as long as that supply is holding. As soon as the supply breaks, then maybe we have to hold off on shorts. If we do get a pullback down to this daily zone, I think it's a great area to look for a potential swing trade long. So definitely have that daily demand zone on your chart for sure. What we could also be doing, well, we did break through this 4 hour area of supply. I was pointing that one out for a while. I like the liquidity area here with the supply zone above, and we pretty much blasted right through it. So that was a loss, but it's no big deal. It was well worth the risk in my opinion. Now we have a beautiful 4-hour upper trend line with a demand zone down below 1.043. So if you are bullish and want to jump the gun on longs, that is our that is basically our 4-hour demand zone long entry right there. And as well as if this upper trend line is holding, 15-minute time frame longs are going to be good on the euro US dollar as well. Now remember, like I said, the daily supply is in control overall, like I was just showing you guys. So if you want to look for a confirmation short trade, the safest thing you would want to see on this 4-hour chart is a move like this, where we not only break the demand, but we also break the upper trend line. If we do that and we are left with a 4-hour supply zone, that would be our confirmation trade right there. That would be our confirmation 4-hour supply zone because it confirmed our entry. We removed demand. We remove an upper trend line. So if we get that move and we have a 4-hour supply zone there, I will have that zone for myself and for the members on the chart link, and we will be pointing it out. So that is really the only way I would be shorting the euro US dollar at this time, if we can get that down move. But in the meantime, it's longs all the way, as long as the 4-hour upper trend line is holding and the 4-hour demand zone is holding there as well on the euro USD. On to the forecast for gold. 4-chart layout right here. Just want to point out the weekly trend is up. Looks like this move to the downside was just temporary. On the daily chart, the trend is also up, but on the daily time frame, zooming in here, we really want to see the all-time high broken, right? I'm not saying if we go to the all-time high, we're going to shoot right up. Usually when we get to all-time highs, we will see some manipulation moves, ultimately probably headed up. In my opinion on gold, that's what I think. So next week, do you think we're going to break the all-time high? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. I kind of think we are, and a huge reason I think we are is because on the lower time frames, on the 4-hour chart, we have beautiful 4-hour trend to the upside. I absolutely love it. We are reacting off a supply zone right now, 2773. So a couple options for trading gold here. For longs, as long as this upper trend line is holding, 15-minute time frame longs are going to be good. Pullbacks down to that 4-hour demand zone at 27.27 is also going to be a good little rally-based rally demand zone to potentially look for longs off of. Another option is if we break this supply and if we break all-time highs, if we have a new 4-hour demand zone there, I think that'll be a good demand zone as well to look for longs off of as well on gold on the 4-hour time frame. So those are all the options there on gold on the 4-hour chart. That's what I'm going to be looking for personally. On the 1-hour chart here, you can see nice 1-hour trend line as well. So as long as this 1-hour trend line is holding, 5-minute time frame longs are good. And there is, I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit, there is a 1-hour demand zone all the way down at 27.64. Decent little rally-based rally that removed an opposing supply zone from way back. So I think this is a decent little rally-based rally demand zone on the 1-hour chart at 27.64 that we could see a move off of as well on gold. Onto the forecast for the USDJPY. This is a weekly time frame here, and kind of the bigger long-term question that I have. The big question, in my opinion, in a swing trading perspective, is will price pull down to this weekly demand? That is the big question. Obviously, after that, if that does take place, the question is, will it hold to go to all-time highs? But right now, the question, as we kind of drop a little bit here, will we pull back down to that weekly zone? If we're going to have to look at the lower time frames to really get evidence of that. On the just full top-down approach here, on the daily time frame, you can see beautiful daily upper trend line. It is still being respected. We haven't even really touched it for a third time yet. So basically, you need to have this trend line from here to here, connect it, extend it, and monitor it. If it breaks, that could be a clue we will be pulling back down to that weekly demand zone that we just talked about around 144. So definitely have this trend line. Right now, it's still looking strong, in my opinion, on the USDJPY. We do have a 4-hour demand zone that is currently in control. I liked it for a trade initially before we even hit it. As far as trading it goes now, it's kind of just hesitating here. It's going sideways. It's really not looking that great, in my opinion. But if you are day trading, how I look at this is we have a 4-hour demand zone in control. Demand means we look for longs. Not only that, we have a daily upper trend line that's being respected. So honestly, if you're a day trader, I think looking for longs on the day trading timeframes to trade up to at least 158.31 is going to be good for longs. So as long as this 4-hour demand zone is holding, longs are going to be good. And on the 1-hour time frame, we actually had a beautiful two pretty good 1-hour zones. This one wasn't amazing. We got an initial move off of it, almost 2-to-1. So that would have been a 2-to-1 trade here. This 1-hour zone, it was pretty good in my opinion. It broke a downward trend line. And if you look here, where the zone was, we kind of just pierced below it. This is where, you know, a lot of people trade supply and demand. Me personally, I like to trade like this. Stop loss just a little bit low, take profit above. Some people, they like to look at a structured more stop loss, something like that. And then what they would do is here, they'd put their stop loss wider. Obviously, there's pros and cons. Now your risk reward is worse than from how I would take it, which is there. But in this instance, how I would take the trade like this, I would have been stopped out right there on the USDJPY, where if you would have taken the structured stop loss, you wouldn't have been. So I just wanted to share that little tip. The structured stop loss is something you guys might want to add into your trading. It definitely can work, and I definitely have nothing against it. So, you know, check it out, backtest it, see if it works for you. Now, with that being said, if you guys are enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. I do these weekly Forex forecasts every single Saturday at 3:30 a.m. So definitely subscribe for that, and every like helps. So as far as the end goes now, I really don't see any trading setups except for day trading long, like I said, as long as this 4-hour demand zone's holding. And definitely, again, monitor that daily upward trend line to suggest and to see if we're going to pull back down to weekly demand at 151.23. On to the forecast for the GBPUSD. As you can see, daily downward trend line. Currently, it's not even breaking here. We will need another day to see if this downward trend line is breaking. But, I mean, look, things are looking really strong. To me, it looks like we are going to break above this daily downward trend line. And what that could suggest long-term in a swing trading perspective is, hey, maybe we're not pulling back down to this weekly demand zone from all the way back here. I'm just trying to center my chart here. Sorry about that. Maybe we're not pulling back down to that weekly demand at 113. Maybe we are pulling up into this weekly supply zone at 1.29. So that is something to consider as far as a long-term approach goes. But we're going to have to see, you know, nice 4-hour trends, maybe even a daily trend. We at least need to see the daily downward trend line broken. So how do we trade the pound now? Well, on the 1-hour chart, what I see here is a pretty nice 1-hour trend to the upside. This trend line's almost becoming irrelevant, but I will say if you're bullish, longs on a 5-minute time frame, as long as this trend line's holding, is going to be good. Pullbacks all the way down to this 1-hour zone at 1.22 could also be a good zone. It's a good little demand zone. Nice move away, broke 2 opposing supply zones. So a pullback all the way down to there could be a reasonable trading setup in my opinion. The 4-hour chart here, I really like this 4-hour supply zone. But to me, it looks like it's going to break. We might be having some new 4-hour demand zone forming here that broke a trend line. We're also going to be monitoring to see if this supply zone can be removed as well. So in the meantime, you could be looking for longs down here at this 4-hour chart at 1.24. And remember, it's kind of a risky setup to be getting in long at this point because the daily downward trend line is still holding. But to me, like I said, it kind of looks like it's going to be broken. So I don't mind getting a little bit aggressive with that potential setup there. And then obviously if we break this demand zone, any 4-hour supply zone, we could definitely hop on that because then that fake out, then to me, if that happens, this was just a fake out. And sometimes fake outs happen. It's almost impossible to tell when they are going to happen, but you can identify them after the fact. So as far as shorts go, we do have a little hidden supply above at 1.26. I think it's a decent area to look for shorts. It's kind of just a random zone. There's not a lot of multiple higher time frame analysis to go with it, but I like the zone for what it is. Clear resistance area right before it as well. So hopefully this analysis makes sense. Remember, guys, if you guys have any questions at all, do not hesitate to ask. And some people have left comments and, oh, you just point out both longs and shorts. This isn't a forecast. Well, look, you can take longs and shorts. It doesn't matter. Like, you can get in long right now on this 1-hour trend line, continue to trade that, and then maybe you trade in long until the supply zone's hit, then you get short at that supply zone that I pointed out, right? That's why I point out both longs and shorts. Remember, guys, any questions, leave them in the comments down below. On to the forecast for the USDCAD. This is the country where I'm from, where I live. I want to know where you guys are from. Let me know in the comments down below. So on the weekly chart, we are going straight up on the USDCAD. Yes, we did get a red week, but not super red. We are quote unquote due for a pullback, I guess, but all signs are really pointing to the upside as far as the weekly chart goes and on the daily time frame as well. What I would like to see for new daily zones is we want to see this supply zone removed. If we have that, we have a new daily zone, that could be a good swing trading opportunity. Obviously, this could take many weeks, so that's why I always tell you guys to subscribe so you can see what happens in the upcoming weeks. So that's the daily chart. And honestly, on the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart, I'm just going to kind of zoom out here to show you guys a 4-chart layout. It is terrible. It's really visible here on the 4-hour chart. Look at this sideways action here. I really just absolutely hate this. It is awful. It's just way too sideways. It's it's not worth trading in my opinion. You know, yes, we did see zones be respected initially. You can go back and watch the forecast. We pointed out these zones many times, but now it's just too sideways. So we really need to see either a breakout to the downside. So what I want you guys to do is to map out this low right here and this high right here. Until any of those highs or lows are removed, we don't really have a trend. So there's no trading. So what I will say is if we break the low, we'll have a downward trend on a 1 hour chart, which means you could be looking for shorts on a 5-minute time frame. If we push up, we break the supply. That would be more ideal because then this would be with the higher time frame trends, right? So if we get that, then we could continue to look for longs. So map out those highs and lows on the 1 hour chart, or sorry, on the 4 hour chart. Then at that point, we can make some trading decisions. In the time being right now, it's just not a pair to be trading. If you absolutely have to be trading it and you say, I got to trade the USDCAD, Kevin, I cannot wait, I can't do what you're saying. All I'm going to say is it's higher odds to trade with the weekly and the daily trend to the upside. That's just my 2 cents. Onto the forecast for the AUDUSD on the daily time frame. We had this daily downward trend line. That trend line was removed after we contacted this daily demand zone. So all signs are pointing to the upside. As far as there's not really a lot of zones here that could stop price. Of course, price could turn out at any point, but I don't really see any good areas of supply. On the 4 hour time frame, we did just remove this proven area of 4 hour supply. We pointed that one out a couple weeks ago, and that left us with 4 hour demand zone at 0.62. It's a good zone as far as initial move away. I like that it removes supply. I don't like that we didn't get any further away. So I wouldn't mind seeing another leg up, then a pullback. That would be preferred. But nonetheless, we do have a rally-based rally demand at 0.629 at the 4 hour time frame on the AUDUSD. If you don't feel comfortable with an entry, stop loss, and take profit above, that is fine. What you could do is look for a confirmation on day trading time frame in there as well if you don't feel comfortable with just taking the trade. Now on the 1 hour time frame, we did catch a beautiful demand zone trade here on the AUDUSD. Beautiful move away, pull back in here, and that was called out in the daily market breakdown video, which you can see on the screen right now. That was a beautiful setup off that trade. The time being right now, we have a 1 hour trend to the upside looking really good. So make sure you attach your trend line right there. That is the proper trend line. So draw that trend line. As long as that trend line is being respected, it is longs all the way on a 5-minute time frame on the AUDUSD. Onto the forecast for the USDCHF, the Swiss franc. Daily upward trend line still being respected. We really haven't even contacted it yet for the 3rd time. Daily supply is in control for longs. We want to see that daily supply removed, hopefully leaving us with a daily demand zone there. We could be looking for longs like that if we get that. But as long as this trend line's holding, we should expect the USD Swiss franc to continue to go up. However, on the lower time frames, I mean, I know the 4 hour chart's not a super low time frame, but it's lower compared to the daily chart and the weekly chart we were just looking at. You can see we do have a 4 hour demand zone in control, but we have a 4 hour downward trend line looking very similar to the DXY. So what we are going to monitor now is if this downward trend line can be removed. But if we break this demand zone, all signs are going to be pointed down to the downside, and then shorts are even higher odds. If you think so basically with the daily trend to the upside, I am expecting to see a move like this where we break the downward trend line. That is just what I'm expecting based on my experience. If you think I am wrong, you could be day trading short on a 15-minute chart as long as this downward trend line is holding. I don't mind that. Also, if you're bearish as well, there is a supply zone up here at 0.913 that did take out an upward trend line. So I think that's a good supply zone as well to look for short trades off of. Since it will be above the downward trend line, confirmation on day trading timeframes would be preferred. So I'm bullish. So if as long as that daily trend is continued to hold, and as long as this 4 hour demand's holding. But like I said, if we break this 4 hour demand zone, my bullishness will pretty much come to an end at that point, or it will at least lessen. So if you're bullish, you could be looking for longs on a 15-minute chart as long as this 4 hour demand zone is holding. We could also be waiting for this downward trend line to be removed, hopefully leaving us with a 4 hour demand zone. We could be looking for longs off of that. I will have that on the chart for the members. Or we could wait for that supply zone to be taken out and look for longs off a zone that removes that. So a couple options here in the USDCHF. I know it's a little bit confusing because I do point out both longs and shorts. So just a reminder, guys, comments down below. I'll answer every single question. Onto the forecast for crude oil on the daily time frame here. We identified this daily demand zone at 74.45. It removed 2 areas of supply. Beautiful move away. I like it. Nice tight basing in there as well. And when price was up here, we identified there's still profit margin to the downside on crude oil. So what did we do? Well, we were on the 1 hour time frame. We noticed that this 1 hour upper trend line was removed. We had a demand zone there that was removed, and that was removed by this rally, base, drop supply with a beautiful move down off of that supply zone. And we caught this beautiful 1 hour supply zone trade from the daily market breakdown videos as well for all of the members in the daily market breakdown videos, like I said. And also, guys, follow me on Instagram at FX Telepath for my 50 trade challenge that I'm doing, full transparency. It's going to be pretty awesome. So follow me on Instagram to follow that challenge. So in the meantime, how do we trade crude oil now that we've already got that set up? Well, draw this downward trend line on the 1 hour chart. As long as this downward trend line is holding, 5-minute time frame shorts are going to be good until we hit that daily demand. So going back to the daily chart, once we hit this daily demand zone down here at 74.45, we have to pretty much wrap up our short trades, whether that's taking your stop loss and bumping it down as we get closer to the demand zone, whether it's just taking profits fully. In my opinion, yes, we could blast through this zone, but it's a good zone. I think we will react off of it. So it's shorts all the way on the day trading timeframes until we can hit this daily zone. Once that daily zone is contacted, then what we're going to be doing is monitoring this downward trend line. Once that downward trend line gets removed, any 1 hour demand zone there, that is going to be our confirmation trade as we come off of the daily demand zone. But we need to wait for that daily demand zone to be hit first. But in the meantime, it's shorts all the way in the 5-minute time frame until we can hit that demand zone at 74.45 on crude oil. If you want to watch the full-length forecast and get my daily chart analysis and daily market breakdown videos, join the Diamond membership. Links in the description down below.